There have been lots of questions, both in game chats while I've been playing and also in my chat about the most common one is, why does that ship start with fewer hit points? Why aren't you healing? What is with this? A lot of people don't understand the mechanics of the ship. So there is an article that you can go and read. So just go and find the update article and it will link to the experimental ships. So the phrase you're looking for is experimental ships, because that's what these are. But let me explain the like high level things you need to know. So the reason that you're seeing Mets and Viasma and they call it Oregano then, and Oregon starting with fewer hit points, and there are more experimental ships coming in the future before this event ends, and so you will see others than those three as well. The reason that they're starting with lower hit points is because they have this thing called fight or flight. I'm just going to hide my camera for a second so you can actually read that over my head. Your ship's characteristics gradually improve as you lose hit points down to the minimum hit point threshold, which you can see underneath there. As you restore the hit points, these modifiers become less effective. Your ship may begin battle. Your ship will begin battle with a reduced amount of hit points. I don't know why that says may. You will. So these basically have a kind of built-in adrenaline rush, like in the ship itself. And so this, if you are at the HP threshold, which the way this ship is currently built is 12,112 hit points, you get the maximum benefit of minus 15% reload and minus 17% to your dispersion, which is an improvement. So it improves your reload and it improves your dispersion. Below that minimum threshold, so from 12,000 down to 0, there's no additional bonus, but it scales linearly from 12,000 up to 100% hit points. And so what that means is you want to be playing these ships to get that maximum bonus. You want to be playing these ships as close to 12,000 in the case of the Mets. Obviously, the total is different for the other ships. You want to play as close to that boundary as you can without sinking. How close you are willing to play to that line depends on your skill and confidence as a player. I found personally in Mets, I could play pretty close to that 12 because I'm pretty confident in a fairly maneuverable open water cruiser. Viasma is a lot less maneuverable, and so I was having to play with a lot more health on board because you get smacked around a lot more. But that's the idea. So they have these built-in super adrenaline rush, which compounds with the adrenaline rush that you can take on the captain as well. So it's this double whammy of trying to improve your ship by losing hit points. But this isn't a new concept. This is a skill that you should have as a player anyway, because you can take adrenaline rush on any ship, and probably you take it on most of your ships. And so you want to be maximizing the benefit you get from the adrenaline rush by, for example, on battleships, if you don't need to put a heal in, don't put the heal in. It's the same as this. Don't spawn into Mets and Viasma and Oregon and immediately start healing, because what you're doing is you're just making a ship worse. If you don't need the hit points, don't put the hit points on the ship. However, if you do need to put the hit points on the ship, they have this, chunky heal. And so if you feel like you're about to go into a situation where you're going to take some damage, of course you need to put some hit points on. If you take a bunch of damage, of course you need to heal, but you don't want to be healing all the way up to maximum hit points. And so this really, really tests your ability to play on a ship which has lower hit points. But you have that there. If you know you're going into a dangerous situation, you should definitely put some hit points on. But that's why you are seeing these things starting with lower hit points, and a lot of people are misplaying these by just putting all the heals in at the beginning of the game, or they're understanding what this is, but they're just playing the ship wrong and dying. And so you need to walk that tightrope between maximizing the benefit of fight or flight and not sinking. You need to walk that tightrope, but it's the same tightrope that you would be walking in a ship with adrenaline rush, or should be walking in a ship with adrenaline rush. The other feature that these ships get is limited stock shells. So you get some improved AP, which has slightly improved bounce angles. And you get to that by pressing the F key. This reduces your range. You get, in this case, 80 shells of improved AP that you can use at that reduced range. So it's 11.5 in Mets, it's 12 in Viasma, for example. And once you've gone through those 80 shells, you're then just firing normal AP, and it's a double burst kind of deal. And so that's the other feature that these have. And that gives you the ability to just really punish something that makes a mistake in front of you. But I just wanted to address like this question of why do the experimental ships start with lower health? That's why, and you need to make sure you're taking advantage of that. But you will see lots of particularly Metses in games who either understand the mechanic and just making mistakes, in which case they're easy kills at the beginning of a match if you focus them, or they're not understanding the ship and they're putting all the heals in and they're perfectly healthy, but then their reload is like crazy long and their dispersion is really bad. And so when I'm seeing a lot of people not understanding the mechanic, and I'm seeing a lot of people saying that the ship is terrible because either they're dying really quickly or their dispersion is really terrible. And that's why, because they're not playing it properly. I actually did really well in this ship. I think it's great. Viasma is still in progress, and to be honest, I'm not enjoying that one quite so much. But yeah, that's what the experimental ships are.